and welcome in my very first video. So for the starters, I decided to show you guys briefly which materials I use and just shortly just showcase how I mix them all together. So I think that would be the best start. Okay, so first I think it would be best to start with the material that I recently used very often, which is colored pencils. Usually I just buy the Faber-Castell ones. They are pretty cheap, very affordable, and yeah, they have very good pigmentation. It's really fun to use them, so I love to mix it with the acrylic paint, sometimes oil pastels, but mostly the acrylic paint because you can smudge it and create very interesting textures. Alright, so let's maybe do a little bit of, let's say, swatch of few of the colors. First one is like very neon lemon, something like that. It's very fun. I really like it to use it for highlighting stuff, mostly the skin, and a very rich dark purple, which is one of my favorites as well. And of course there has to be a red because red lips, a red rosy cheeks and nose. Yes, that is my go-to. Okay, I decided to draw a very quick sketch with the green one here, so you know, just to like light the mood a little bit. I think colored pencils are very easy to use, so when you are trying to sketch something, etc., trying to practice, I think this is a very common and a basic material, but you can actually do a lot of fun stuff with it. Alright, so the next one is oil pastels. I use them much more often than the dry pastels. The dry pastels are just like addition from time to time, rarely, but mostly I focus on the colored pencil, like I mentioned, and oil pastels as well. Like I mentioned, I love buying stuff on a budget, so I have a little bit more expensive one, which is the Faber-Castell, and I use Pentel ones. And yeah, this small beautiful paint white oil pastel is almost at the end of its beautiful life, because yeah, I use white paint and white oil pastel quite. So basically I recommend Pentel, mostly because yes, they are of course the cheaper version. Yes, they might lack in some aspects, but I think the more hard to use medium, the more fun you can actually have, the more challenges it gives you to overcome. So I think it's a good way to explore the medium, to check how can I make it work, what can I do to make it work. When I was in high school, I really had to be aware of how much I spent on my art supplies. So basically I was buying everything that was the cheapest, which of course came with the cost of the quality of the materials. But can it stop you? Not really. Like I said, it gives you more opportunities to explore the medium, to just, you know, more think about it, how to make it work. So yeah, I think it's worth trying to get a fun with the cheaper materials as well. Okay, so except for the sketchbooks, I often use the cardboard. So I buy them from the internet and they are really cheap as well. So it's a quite affordable way to get the base on which you can paint, draw, and yeah, usually you can just, when you use colored pencils or oil pastels, you don't even need to use the base on it before painting on it. You can just use the raw material as it is, and it actually can give you a very fun, interesting outcomes. Alright, so next maybe let's go through all the acrylic paint that I use. So, surprise, surprise, as before, I try to use more affordable options when it comes to the acrylic paint. But I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to the acrylic paint, the lower the price, the lower the quality. That is unfortunately a very true statement. And I will not lie to you all because that's the reality, but I still use them. Actually, the Renaissance one and the next one will be the Amsterdam ones are a bar higher, I guess, when it comes to the price and the quality. It's really quite good paint, to be honest, and they are in the very reachable price range. When it comes to Appa color, this is my personal favorite when it comes to the white paint, due to the fact that I'm using a lot of white paint. I like to have a better quality for this one as well, because yeah, I focus on that much more. Alright, so maybe next let's go shortly on how do I use the acrylic white paint in this case. As you can see, on the surface that is already covered with the oil pastels. But to be honest, there's not much magic and mystery, I don't know, like steps with that. I just try to cover the spaces where I want it to be more showed in the light, you know, to pop up more a little bit, to create more dimension. I like to smudge it from time to time to just make it more like whimsical, I guess. So basically I just hope that this really quick speed painting of the sketch will put a little bit of light on how I use those mediums all together. So hopefully that will just answer at least some of your questions. But yeah, so you can see here that I'm using the colored pencil on top of those two yellow layers. Sorry, English is not my native language, so sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm using the colored pencils just to refine a little bit some of the details on the drawing, like, you know, to make more eyes more refined, etc, etc. So that's why I'm using them on top of those two layers often. To be honest, at least from the years back when I was in the art high school, yes, that's a thing here in Poland, we have those. I remember that some of the art teachers were like, no, you cannot mix all those mediums all together. You can't do it. No, that's not how the art works. And I was like, but why? And they were like, because. And I was like, but why because? To be honest, I don't think they ever gave me like the specific answer to why, for example, I cannot mix like oil pastels and acrylic paints together. So, but I think that's a story for another video. Let's keep up with the subject. So for the next thing, let's show up the sketchbooks that I use quite often. The first one is, to be honest, that's the most expensive one that I have, because it is made with the hanji paper, which is a traditional Korean paper. So yeah, I bought it while I was on the trip to South Korea, so not gonna lie, that was the most expensive sketchbook that I ever had, so guilty, I guess. I'm guilty for that. I don't regret. So this one actually was made by my very dear friend. She's making them all by herself. This one that I have is hand stitched, so props to her for that. I would never do that. So basically I often use it just for the oil pastel sketches, drawings, etc. because due to the gray paper,
the colors pops up the best here, so yeah.
Okay, so the next one, please kill me, but I do not remember where I bought it. I do not. I only remember that I bought it on the discount, of course. So it wasn't that expensive. I don't remember what is the company. It's not written anywhere. So unfortunately, yeah. But it's quite good quality paper, and yeah, it's fun to use as well. It looks handmade, but it was not. don't get fooled. Okay, and the last sketchbook that I'm currently using is that small baby, which I love. If I remember correctly, it's from it's Cradu. I will just write that. Oh yeah, that Cradu. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, but yeah, I'm using it for more than a year, and I'm almost finishing it. Yes, so it will be finished soon, and it has a really thick, good quality paper, so it's fun to use. I bought it on the discount as well because, you know, a budget queen, you know. So the first one here, it was actually made in the small sketchbook that I show you as the last one. So basically, I paint the whole page here with the red paint, and on that I just built with the oil pastels, and on top of that I used colored pencils and used another layer of acrylic paint. You can see the stars are with the colored pencils, and most of the face and the blouse material is the acrylic paint. On top of that, oil pastels, and for the details I used colored pencils as well, just to refine it a little bit. The very similar example is here for this one as well. So basically, this time actually I used a little bit different paper. It was a gray paper, and without making any like color base, I just strictly started to draw with the oil pastels on that. Used only the black base color for the sweater, but the skin, the face, hair is directly on the gray paper. And of course, like the similar case before, we just used acrylic paint on that and colored pencils, just as the case before, just to refine it and give it some more dimensional. This work is actually made mostly by colored pencils and acrylic paint. So yeah, so the base actually was the blue paint, and on top of that I did very watery acrylic paint base with the hair, with the making, you know, the darkest parts of the face, and on top of that I was just building the more tones and shadows, etc. with the acrylic paint, and on top of that the colored pencils. Alright, and the last thing that I wanted to show is the cardboard and the canvas that I'm using, which are basically just the canvas on the cardboard, but that's my go-to materials as well. Nothing much to show here, I just wanted to let you guys have a quick look on other materials that I use as the base. So basically that should be all from my side, at least for now. I think that will be a little bit confusing because that's my first video. This is my first voiceover for actually that account. But yeah, hopefully at least you will have a briefly introduction to what materials I use, briefly how I use them, and hopefully to see you all in the next video. So thank you so much. Bye!